Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday, August 22nd, 2013 meeting of the City of Lowell License Commission. Was the meeting posted?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to skip the first three items on the agenda and go to number 4.
Okay, Commission will now take up special one-day license applications for malt beverages and wine only, or either one. Christine Chuck Trainer, Tracy Martino is here on her behalf of the Aramark Company for Friday, September 13th, 2013, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The event is the Senior Class Luau for UMass Lowell Student Activity Organization to be held at the UMass Lowell Bellegarde Boathouse, 500 Pawtucket Boulevard. Corey Belanger of Major's Pub for Saturday, September 7th, 2013, from 8 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. The event is the Brewfest, the microbrew beer tasting, to be held at the Athenian Corner parking lot at Shattuck and Market Streets.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Belanger, Major's Pub.
Okay. Christine, I know Commissioner Krieger has a question for you.
How are you going to, since this is college students, how are you going to differentiate between those that are under 21 and those that are 21 and over?
All people purchasing alcohol will be carded before purchase takes place, so each individual is expected to be carded.
Do you have a machine for checking the cards, or are you just going to visually check them?
No, we visually check.
And it's the senior class, so
Correct.
I would expect most of them would be 21.
Yes.
Anyways, but, well, you guys have all come in here before. We haven't had any issues with either of them, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. So moved.
Thank you.
Commission will now take up the matter to do with application for special event permits for amplification of sound. Manny Cavallero of Cavallero's Restaurant, MC Restaurants, Inc., 573 Lawrence Street. Sound system for band summer party at the Cavallero's Outdoor Cafe for 4 dates: Saturday, August 24th from 8 p.m. to 12 midnight, Saturday, September 14th from 8 p.m. to 12 midnight, Saturday, September 21st from 8 p.m. to 12 midnight, and Saturday, September 28th, also from 8 p.m. to 12 midnight.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Manny Cavallero, Cavallero's Restaurant.
Right, Manny, you've had these licenses before, correct?
Yes,
No issues?
no issues.
Okay, well, you know you're in a neighborhood, so just don't have it blasted up. There's condos behind you and other homes.
Nothing. Move to approve.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Yep, good luck.
Commission will now take up the application for public amusement for Carnival application. Dean and Flynn, Inc., doing business as Fiesta Shows of Seabrook, New Hampshire. John A. Flynn, representative for the Fiesta Shows Carnival at the Welcome Fiesta Field, also known as the Regatta Field, 351 501 Pawtucket Boulevard, for Friday, September 6th and Saturday, September 7th, 2013.
Introduce yourself for the record.
John Flynn, president of Dean and Flynn, doing business as Fiesta Shows.
Okay, Mr. Flynn, how long have you guys been doing shows in Lowell?
27 years, I believe it is.
And have we ever had any issues?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Ryan, I know there was, last time
Just for the record, we had a scheduled meeting last August 8th, and at that time there were applications for beer and wine that Mr. Flynn had submitted to the License Commission office. Those are not on this evening's agenda. I had a conversation with Mr. Flynn earlier in the week in which he confirmed that he wished to withdraw those applications.
Correct, and hopefully my office went ahead and faxed that information over to your attention. Originally, we were going to try to put this together as a family festival, almost like an Oktoberfest, but we just fell behind in our timing, so I pulled the beer and wine away from the event.
Move we approve?
Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye, so moved. Hope you get good weather.
Thank you very much. Hopefully it won't rain.
Yeah.
Take care.
Anything else?
No, everything. No, do you want to do go to Hayhurst Group next?
Okay.
Yeah.
Commission, on the matter to do with number 3 of the agenda, the hearing on the allegation of misconduct as charged by Deborah Friedel, interim superintendent of police, against Hayhurst Group, Inc., doing business as Finn's Pub, 7686 Merrimack Street. Kevin Hayhurst, manager, the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee, of a date alleged violation, May 4th, 2013, regarding Section 1.16 of the License Commission Regulations, Manager's Responsibility, and Section 1.20, Illegal Activities, also of the License Commission Regulations. There is some discussion, there's possibility the commission may wish to discuss the matter of the License Commission Office received a communication from an attorney named Ray Weicker, who allegedly is or claims to be an attorney for Hayhurst Group, Inc., and has asked for a continuance. But that is not on the agenda, and so it's up to the License Commission to entertain or to introduce a motion if they wish to consider a request for continuance.
It's my understanding that Attorney Weicker is still looking for materials from the district attorney's office that he thinks are essential for representing the Hayhurst Group in front of the License Commission. So I'll make a motion to continue.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved. But I would like, if we could just place on the agenda for our next meeting, discussion as to a procedure to continue hearings that are before the License Commission. Maybe we can draw something up that may be a little more formal, so everyone's aware of what they need to do.
Agreed.
So if I may just reiterate or go over what you've just done, members of the commission. The matter of the discussion, motion, Commissioner Occasion, second by Commissioner Krieger, to introduce the subject of the continuance, and then so pass, and then the motion to grant the continuance to a particular date and time, or until,
Well,
do we want to move it?
what our next meeting, well, I know that's something that we're going to address.
We're
coming up.
scheduled to meet September the 12th, and presently, we have a meeting scheduled for September 12th and September 26th. Those are Thursday evenings, 6:30 PM. Unless the board was to decide otherwise, which they may consider doing so later this evening. But just for the month of September alone, I can just tell you that because of the holidays, the holiday Monday, September 2nd, the planning board had scheduled its meeting, normally would schedule its meeting on Monday, but they're moving it to September 5th, which is a Thursday. And for some particular reason, I think this time every year, in September, I should say, the planning board opts to not meet on Monday, the third Monday of the September, and they schedule a meeting of the planning board for Thursday, September 16th. I'm sorry, Thursday, September 19th. That being said, what you have scheduled presently, the 12th and the 26th, is
Only 2 Thursdays. So why don't we move it to the September 26th? And
Just-
hopefully that gives
we'll
them.
move it to,
Yeah, I was going to ask if the law office had any understanding as to why Mr. Weiker's having trouble from the district attorney.
I haven't been in touch with the district attorney, so I don't have any insight on that.
This is justice delayed for everybody.
Right. Well, we can move it to the next meeting then, and if he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it, and we have the hearing.
Let's try and do it on the 12th.
Okay.
I like that.
September 12th.
Sure.
Shall we go to number one?
Number 1, yeah.
Commission will now open a hearing on the allegation of misconduct as charged by Deborah Fiedel, the interim superintendent of police, against LNS Liquors, Inc., 2 Dover Street. Ban Song Chun is the manager of record, the all-alcoholic beverage package store licensee, for failure in compliance with check conducted by the Lowell Police Special Investigations, which is a violation of Chapter 138, Section 34, Mass General Law.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Good evening, Attorney Catherine Flood here on behalf of LNS Liquors, and with me is Bunsung Chun, who's the manager.
Would you like the complaint read into the record, or would you waive that?
Waive that.
All right. Captain Webb, could you summarize the complaint?
Mr. Chairman, on Friday, May 3rd of this year, detectives assigned to the Special Investigations Section under the command of Lieutenant Gollner were conducting compliance checks of various liquor establishments in the city. The detectives were assisted by a 20-year-old male who had no cash with him other than that that was provided by the detectives, and no identification. At 6:41 PM, the underage male entered L&S Liquors at 2 Dover Square and purchased a 12-pack of Heineken light beer from a male clerk. The 20-year-old then exited the establishment with the beer and reported to Lieutenant Goldner and Detective Callahan. They entered and ID'd the clerk as John Garcia. Mr. Garcia was involved in the violation. And Lieutenant Goldner and Detective Callahan are here this evening.
Attorney Flood?
At the time, my client was, well, Bunsen Chun, the manager, was not present. John Garcia was a new employee at L&S Liquors. He is no longer employed by the establishment due to this violation. They train all their employees to check for identification. The liquor store has it posted that you ask for identification at all times.
Do they have any sort of program where they have to enter their birthday on the register?
No, we just check by IDs.
IDs? No swipe?
No swipe.
No, okay. Have you guys had any trouble before?
I don't think so.
Ryan, are you aware of any? I don't remember any, but
There's nothing on record with respect to this particular establishment of a business.
okay.
The way you said that suggested perhaps the owner has another business?
There's a second package store.
Have there been
Another part-
problems there?
in another part of the city.
Have there been problems there?
There was a similar incident several years ago at the other location. Fletcher Street, is it?
Yes. King Liquors. King Liquors?
But it's several years ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you gotta make sure that your employees are checking everyone's ID, especially with the college students coming back into the city over the next month. You know, I'm sure there'll be a lot of underage kids trying to purchase alcohol at different establishments, and you know, if you get a reputation that you sell the underage alcohol, underage buyers, then you're gonna have an issue. And you know, you seem to corrected the issue on Fletcher Street, and on this establishment, there hasn't been any issues. So these compliance checks are meant to be teaching tools and to get you guys on your toes. But if it happened in a compliance check, it's happening other times too, because it's not just one time you did this, if you sold it to the guy from the police department. So I'll make a motion that we put the complaint on file.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Just don't let us see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They don't have the AC on in here tonight, huh? It's hot.
Ryan was working on it, didn't get anywhere.
Commission now open a hearing on the allegations of misconduct as charged by Deborah Friedel, the interim superintendent of police, against the Middle Street Village, Inc., doing business as the Village Smokehouse, 9298 Middle Street, Alan F. Kaplan, manager of record, the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee. Date of alleged violations, April 25th, 2013, Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34, sale or delivery of alcohol beverage to a person under 21 years of age, and Massachusetts Regulation 204, CMR 2.05, Paragraph 2, to wit, violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34, and violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 94C, Controlled Substances Act.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for the record, my name is Robert Allen. I have a law practice at 300 Washington Street in Brookline Village. With me is the manager of record, Alan Kaplan, and the general manager and the manager of that particular night, Tim Kelleher. Before we begin the proceedings, I just want to thank Mr. Wynn and the board for granting a continuance to allow us here today. I'm sorry my schedule didn't allow me to be here last time, and I appreciate the consideration.
Would you like the complaint read into the record?
We can waive
Reading.
the reading.
All right, Captain Webb, could you summarize the complaint?
Mr. Chairman, on Thursday, April 25th of this year, detectives assigned to the Special Investigations Section under the command of Lieutenant Goldner were conducting a compliance check at the Village Smokehouse, 98 Middle Street. Lieutenant Goldner had also received information regarding possible drug use in the basement of the Village Smokehouse by patrons. At 11:40 p.m., Lieutenant Goldner and Detective Downs and Lally entered the Village Smokehouse. Detective Downs and Detective Lally observed a 20-year-old female holding a plastic cup with a mixed drink. When the female was asked about the drink, she replied that it was a whiskey sour. When her license was checked, it was found that she was 20 years old. She stated that she had produced this license at the door but had been allowed entry anyway. She also told them that in the past, she had presented this license at the smokehouse and been given a wristband to indicate that she was under 21 years old. However, on this night, she had no wristband. And the 20-year-old female told the detectives that she had purchased a drink from a small blonde bartender. The 20-year-old was removed from the establishment and transportation was arranged to her home. Detective Callahan also found a 19-year-old female with no ID, and she stated that she was not drinking and was not observed with a drink, but the detective also observed that she did not have a wristband on. Detective Callahan and Lieutenant Goldner then located a room in the basement that appeared to be a lounge area. The room contained a TV, a couch, chairs, and a table. The detectives also observed numerous small cut baggies on the floor of the room in the basement. This is usually indicative of some type of drug use. Lieutenant Goldner informed Mr. Kelleher of his observations. Mr. Kelleher told Lieutenant Goldner that the bags were probably used to contain Molly. Molly is a term which is used as a street term to refer to the drug ecstasy. Mr. Kelleher also told Lieutenant Goldner that the previous Saturday he had sold 3 or 4 cases of water, and this is also an indication of ecstasy use. The baggies were submitted to the State Police Drug Lab for analysis, and they were found to contain cocaine, a Class B controlled substance, and methylene dioxymethcathinone, also known as methylone, a Class C controlled substance. Lieutenant Goldner, Detective Callahan, and Detective Downs are here this evening if you'd like to hear from them.
Detective Goldner, could you take the podium? Take the Could you just introduce yourself for the record?
Lieutenant Barry Goldner with the Lowell Police Department.
All right, could you tell me what you observed that evening?
As the captain stated, when we went to the bar for a specific purpose, received some information that there was a room in the basement, that kids were allegedly going down there and using drugs.
Who did you receive that information from?
I received it from another police officer.
Okay.
Based on that info, we decided to conduct a compliance check on that evening. It was after 11 o'clock at night. We went into the bar. As stated, Detective Downs and Lally had found a female who they believe was underage. Detective Callahan and I went through the kitchen. As we were going, I believe it was the kitchen, we went off to the left to find the basement, and as we were going through, one of the bouncers, along with this female, was coming towards us. Detective Callahan, we identified her. She was a 19-year-old female from Lowell, and as stated, she had no wristband. She was not drinking, or didn't appear to be drinking at the time, but was 19 years of age. The bouncer told us how to make our way to the basement. We went down to the basement. There was no one in there. The place was very clean, probably one of the cleanest basements that we've been in down there. And there was a small lounge area with a TV, a couch, a couple of chairs. And on the floor in several locations, one by the table, one by a chair, and the other one was just on the floor, were 3 empty corners of plastic bags. And through our experience and our training, and we believed that those were consistent with the usage of narcotics. Upon closer examination, they contained a powder residue, which we again believe was some sort of narcotics. I seized the bags. There was also an end-tied, the end-tied portion of a plastic bag, which is common when the bag is closed up in the corner. It's tied off in a knot, and then it's snipped off for street-level packaging. I seized all of those items. I brought them up. I gave them to Detective Lally, who was the case officer on this. Detective Lally submitted all the bags to be sent to the state lab. We went upstairs. I actually went outside with Mr. Kelleher. We were outside on the street. Some of the detectives were still on the sidewalk. We had a conversation, and that's when, Mr. Kelleher had informed me about the sale of the water the week before, 3 or 4, and that he said, you're probably going to find that it's Molly. And Molly is a common club drug that basically Molly is the purest form of ecstasy that is used in the clubs. When it's in a white form, it's the purest. If it's yellowish or brown, it's probably cut with something. The substances that were found other than the cocaine are used or commonly found in bath salts, which is federally regulated and a Class C substance in Massachusetts. Submitted the report, and
What did the state lab find?
I have to look for exact, but they found cocaine and methacatholone, I believe. I'll have to look at the report for the exact chemical findings, but cocaine is a Class B substance. We do have a copy. One was found to contain residue of cocaine, a derivative of coca leaves, a Class B controlled substance. Residue of 3 was, that
You
one
don't
I
have to
can't read.
pronounce that.
Is known as methylone, a Class C controlled substance, both as defined under Chapter 94C of the general laws. The 3 bags were tested.
Did you say bath salts are a controlled substance in the Commonwealth?
It's federally regulated, bath salts are, and I don't know if bath salts are, if you read the story of the guy in Florida who ate someone's face off, and that was a bath salt reaction, but it shouldn't be sold, but it's used in cutting some of the substances and some of these synthetic drugs.
Okay. There was no one downstairs when you went downstairs except yourselves?
Just myself and Detective Callahan.
Thank you.
And just one last question for me. Relative to the underage drinking, if they have a wristband on that identifies them as being 21 or 20 or under, if they don't have a wristband, they're 21 or over.
Then apparently, I think that's the policy. The wristband indicates to the bartenders that they're underage, correct?
Okay. And there was someone that didn't have a wristband on, and was drinking.
There was
That wasn't
one
21.
person that was drinking, one that wasn't, and she may have been some sort of employee, I'm not sure, or related to a promotion of some sort.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have any?
May I inquire?
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry for the close proximity, Lieutenant. Lieutenant, just, are you familiar with what is described in the license as the licensed premises?
I have not reviewed it in a while, no.
Okay. So if I were to tell you that this storage room is outside the licensed premise, would you be aware of that or no?
I wouldn't be aware of it.
Okay. And when you went in there, also you saw a couch and chairs, and further back, paint cans and sawhorses and other materials in the back?
I don't remember. There was a bathroom in there. We walked through the kitchen area. There might have. I don't remember what else was in that basement area.
You didn't see any beer bottles or anything in that area?
No. It was, like I said, it was very clean down there.
Okay. And did you ask to see any security footage as to people going up and down there?
I did not.
And did you stated that you sent the baggies to the lab. When you picked up the baggies, and sent them off, did you have them fingerprinted in any way?
No.
Could you tell, or is anything in the report that gave the time period, or could indicate the time period of how long that baggie could have been down there?
No.
And did you request that from the state lab to provide that information?
No, but in conversation that evening with Mr. Kelleher, he was surprised because he said he had just had that basement cleaned. So, or they had just cleaned the basement up, and I don't know what the time frame was, but he said it. So I'm guessing that those were relatively new since what his cleaning was, whether it was from the Saturday evening, from the weekend, but I would guess it was relatively fresh.
And were you involved at all in the underage female that was there, or was that Detective Downs?
Detective Downs and Lally were primary. Ex post facto, I would upstairs after they had interaction with her, and I had some limited interaction.
With this individual?
Yes, I was up there for a brief period of time.
Okay, and relative to that individual, did you show her identification to Mr. Kelleher that particular night?
I don't know if I did. I don't know if anyone.
Did you ask Mr. Kelleher to review the tapes to watch her come in or anything?
No.
Was she in fact charged with any criminal offense?
No, she was not.
Did you give Mr. Kelleher an opportunity to see her face or see the ID that she used?
I'm sure that he saw her. He was standing outside, but we don't offer the person up to him, but she was escorted out. I believe we actually had a UMass Lowell police cruiser come and pick her up and take her home. So I would say that everyone would have had ample opportunity to see who she was.
And when she produced the license, she didn't produce the license to you, is that correct?
I believe Detective Downs.
Okay, and do you know if she had any other form of identification on her person?
I do not.
Okay. I have nothing further from the lieutenant. Okay. If I may, just briefly, a couple things. Have you been in this establishment previously?
Yes.
And have you ever seen any evidence of drug use in this restaurant in the past?
Have I ever seen drug use? No. Just people involved in drug uses, yes.
Right. You haven't seen any evidence of what you saw there on that particular night?
No.
And for the past, you go in there and conduct stings, et cetera?
We have been in there numerous times. Yes, we've had, one night I think we had 11 underage fake IDs in there. We've had, it's been a constant issue with underage drinking and constant complaints to the narcotics or vice unit at the time of underage drinking in the establishment. So, we did try to keep an eye on the issue.
And you had stated that you received information from another police officer. Do you know where he received his information from?
No, I don't.
Do you know anything about a recently fired employee contacting that police officer?
I have no idea.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Okay.
I'm good.
Ryan,
No.
Thank you.
is the basement part of the licensed, the implication was the basement is not part of the licensed establishment. Do we know the answer to that?
The basement is defined on the alcohol license as being for storage only.
Okay.
It's
So,
storage.
so it is part of the establishment, but for storage only?
Right, so there would be no reason for anyone of the public to be in the basement.
I could, if it's helpful, I could provide you with a floor print of the basement that I think would,
Sure.
if I may approach. Or- And I don't know if I need to be back there to speak or if I could speak here loud enough.
Sure, you can.
You can speak it louder.
The, that's yelling. The licensed premises is consisted of this right here, which is essentially Mr. Kelleher's and Mr. Kaplan's office. This is the prep cook area here. This is where you store the beer, et cetera. This right here is this back here is part of storage units for the proposed condominiums that were going to be built when they first came in here. The couch and they're referring to was right here. The licensed premises goes along this way and along this way.
Okay.
Want me to leave that? Or?
Yeah, you can take it with you.
Okay.
Are there, do the other two police officers have anything to add in addition to what Lieutenant Golner said? Or did he kind of wrap up everything? That's good, okay. Does the city have anything? No?
No, the city's satisfied with Lieutenant Goldner's explanation of the facts.
I would ask Mr. Kelleher,
Sure.
if I may. Could you just state your name for the record?
Timothy J. Kelleher,
And where are you employed?
the Village Smokehouse.
Calling your attention to the night in question, were you working at the smokehouse that night?
Yes, I was.
In what capacity?
I was managing that night.
Oh, and at some point in the evening, what time did you arrive on the premises?
I came to the license hearing here prior. The license, I think I got over at 8:30, and then I went back to the restaurant.
And what did you do when you got back to the restaurant?
I talked to all the door guys, told them that I was down at the license hearing. There were some new changes that came into effect that night. Went over the 1:30 close, the 1:30 entertainment, the 1:45 TVs. Told them that I wasn't clear about the 18-plus nights, that you couldn't promote an 18-plus night. And just went over the license changes, told the boys to be on their toes.
And at some point that night, and could you please explain for the board exactly how the setup is when you first come in and how the carding takes place? Are they carded outside or are they carded inside?
Typically, they're carded inside. We have two guys one guy at the door when you walk in, one guy behind the counter. We get a police detail Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, all year long, and they're carded when they come in.
And the police officer stays close to where they're carding also, is that correct?
Typically.
And on that particular night, you saw the detective, lieutenant detective and his entourage come in?
Yes, I did.
And did you have some conversation with him?
Prior, he just said he was coming in, and they went about and did their business. And then after the fact, I went out in the street and had a talk with him.
Could you please tell us about your initial conversation with the lieutenant when he first came in?
My initial conversation was they were just going downstairs to look around the basement area downstairs and doing a compliance check.
And are you familiar with the lieutenant?
Yes.
How so?
He's been in probably 10 times in the last 4 years.
And in those particular times, have you had any issues relative to underage drinking or anything of the like?
I mean, we've had underage problems before, probably 3 or 4 years ago, which we were put on probation for. Since then, they've probably come in 7 or 8 times, done a compliance check, and there's been no problems until April 25th.
So when the lieutenant talked about they had 11 or so, I think he said 11 or 12 underage people, was that referring to an incident 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago, there was a bunch of fake Rhode Island IDs that we were not aware of, and these people came in with the fake IDs, matching credit cards, and to be honest, we didn't know any better, and since then, we've trained everybody.
And what did that training include?
We brought in a company, JBS Services, who also trains the Lowell Police Department, shut the restaurant down on a Monday night, had him come in, teach the entire staff, from door guys to servers to bartenders, to myself and Alan, and got everyone certified for safe ID check.
And as a result of that, did you change your policy relative to any out-of-state identification?
We typically do not take them unless the person looks over 30 years old.
Okay. Calling your attention back to that night, at some point, did the lieutenant ask you to go downstairs?
He did not.
And at some point, did the lieutenant inform you as to what he found downstairs?
Yes, he did.
Could you please just describe for the board exactly what that area is back there?
When myself and Mr. Kaplan bought the building, our original intentions were to put the Village Smokehouse on the first floor, put condominiums on the second, third, and fourth floor. The condo market hasn't quite worked out. So we have half the basement as a storage area for future condos, and then we have the rest designated for kitchen. We have an elevator shaft in there that goes down to that area that's obviously not being used.
And and you've put some furniture down there?
Yeah, I did, 5 years ago, we did the Fairburn building over at 10 Kearney Square. We had a model unit. When the model was sold, I moved the furniture in and put it down the basement of Middle Street.
And what is that area used for now?
I mean, it's got storage from anything from paint. It's got that furniture down there. It's got some chairs and stuff that we're not using. Most of it's just vacant.
Do you allow any public access down there?
No, the staff uses it, the detail officers use it, I use it if there's a line at the bathroom upstairs. And under a special circumstance, if someone really has to use a private bathroom, we'll bring them down there.
And was there a time, so in order to get to it, get to this room, what would it take for a person to get to this room? Describe the path.
You have to walk in through the dish machine to the back of the building, down the stairs. At the bottom of the stairs, you can either go left or go right. You go right, you go through the prep kitchen, into the next room, which is the beer cooler room, take a right, and then there's the door that separates the beer cooler room from the storage area. You walk in through that door to get to the bathroom.
And have you ever seen any employees down there?
Yeah, all the time.
Have you ever seen any members of the public down there?
Very rarely.
And have you ever seen any drug use down there?
I have not.
And on this particular evening, were you downstairs when he found these bags in that area?
I was not.
And subsequent to that, did you have a conversation with him?
I did, yes.
Could you please tell the board the substance of that conversation?
I mean, more or less at the end of the night, I went outside on the sidewalk, pulled him away from the crowd. We actually talked across the street, told him what I thought was going on around downtown. I probably shouldn't have talked to him. I've been advised by my attorney I should never talk to anybody, but I did, and that's my fault.
What do you think, how do you think that those bags were turned up down there?
You know, I don't know. We keep the restaurant extremely clean. We have a full-time cleaner. He cleans the basement. If the bags are on the floor, I don't know. The only thing that comes to mind is we did fire a cook. I don't know whether the cook got mad and set us up or what he did with it. You know, if the 3 bags were just in the middle of the floor and there wasn't any other trash around there, it means they were thrown down there that day or the day before, because the cleaner cleans every day.
And you don't know who would have used that particular room on that particular night?
Well, they came in on Thursday night, so it could have been any of the cleaner. Usually cleans Wednesday or Thursday down in the basement area. So it could have been any of the cooks. It could have been a beer delivery guy. It could have been the pest control guy. The building's fairly secure during the day and at night.
Do you have any cameras down there?
We have one on the stairs going down the basement.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. Just we take drugs very seriously. I have 4 kids, and I was horrified by it.
All right. I just want to read you our regulation relative to manager's responsibilities. The manager shall at all time maintain order and decorum in the premises in all immediately surrounding areas adjacent to the licensed premises and in any parking lot provided by the license for use by its patrons. The manager shall cooperate in all ways with city officials in ensuring safe and orderly facilities. So number 1, your attorney may give you advice not to talk to anybody, but the City of Lowell Police Department are agents of this license commission, so I would encourage you that if the police want to talk to you, you talk to them, because if not, it's going to get back to us, and
I think Mr. Kelleher was saying that in jest.
Well, it didn't sound like it was in jest, and this isn't a time to be speaking in
Just,
jest.
when they ask me a question, I'm very honest, and I give them the conversation. When I went outside to have a conversation with the lieutenant, It wasn't, in my opinion, having anything to do with what was going on with that night.
Second, I think that we definitely have jurisdiction relative to anything that happened in that basement, even if it's not technically on the licensed premises, it is adjacent to the licensed premises, at least in my eyes. I don't know about Commissioner Krieger. But, you have to maintain that property in good order. And if there was drug use, obviously down there, there's a certificate. Are there ever any employees that go down there? You said yes. There's never any patrons?
Very rarely.
Well, that's different. So there are patrons that go down there.
If someone needs to go to the bathroom because they're having a problem, or one of the other bathrooms upstairs is too busy, or they have to sit down, we'll bring them downstairs, but one of the door guys brings them.
Okay. There's a TV down there. What is the TV for? Is that for, I'm assuming that if you're paying employees, you're not paying them to watch TV down there?
TV hasn't been turned on in 6 years.
Okay.
It's not even close to a plug. I'm not even sure there's outlets down there.
Okay.
It's basically a model unit that's just plopped in there, like you'd walk into an apartment. It's set up the same way.
Okay. Now, relative to the underage drinking, what are you guys saying about that?
I don't know. I mean, I was there, the 6 door guys were there, my detail officer was there. I had a talk with them all. I don't believe that she was ever given a wristband because we didn't use them that night. The door guys tell me they carded everyone. If they carded her and they misread her license, I don't know. If she presented a fake ID, I don't know.
And I know you said the detail officer was there, but does the detail officer check IDs?
The detail officers will not check ID.
Right, exactly. Okay. So there was someone underage drinking. Now, you guys have had violations in the past for that, correct?
That's correct.
And how many? That you're aware of?
2, I believe.
2. And when did those occur, to the best of your knowledge?
3 and 4 years ago.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the most recent one was actually in 2011.
Okay.
And when was the prior one? Do you have, okay. And how far back do your records go? Do you know, or you just know the most recent one? Oh,
Let me ask
Yeah.
2 questions here. All right, this report we've got from the state on the controlled substance, this is subsequent to them cleaning up the operation for testing, right?
Yes, this analysis took place long after that
All right,
problem came to light, and wasn't even the same lab. It's a different laboratory.
great. Secondly, is this issue of drugs being pursued by the district attorney, or has it been dumped in our lap?
No complaint has been made to the district court on this. This is the only venue that we've gone to so far.
So there's no intention of going to the district court?
No, there is not.
All right.
Another statement that was made to the police was that, and I remember I thought we heard this before from you, that you sold a lot of water, and that indicates that people are using ecstasy?
Again, when I had the conversation out on the sidewalk, it was more of me trying to find out from him what was going on, me telling him what I was seeing.
No, and I appreciate that, but my question is, you stated that there was a lot of water sold that night, correct?
No, not that night, previous.
Previous to that, there was a lot of water sold. And you said that that indicates the use of ecstasy.
I think I was more or less trying to find out what he knew about going on downtown, because it supposedly is out there. We always go through water, the kids come in, they dance. We just happened to have one night where I thought I sold a lot of water, and I had the conversation with the lieutenant.
So, Captain Webb, when I look at this, there's no indication of ecstasy on this form, right, for the testing for drugs? Or am I confused by the terms?
No, the state lab only tells us the chemical names for the drugs or the name the drugs are referred to under the general laws. The general laws don't refer to ecstasy, but ecstasy is a common name for methadone.
Thank you.
So there was cocaine and ecstasy in the basement.
Yes.
You know, this one is very concerning to me because, you know, you have to keep the establishment in good order, and whether it's employees or patrons that are using drugs in the basement, you know, that's part of your establishment. And if the police got a tip that that's what was going on, and then they go in and find it, you know, that's a big issue to me. And, you know, we've told you many times, as we've told other establishments, that the underage drinking, especially, you know, is not going to be tolerated. You know, you have one bite at the apple, maybe two, but this is, I think it's getting out of hand.
Mr. Chairman, the one thing that has been troubling for my clients is, and as the lieutenant stated, you know, this is a really clean basement. It's a really clean restaurant. It's you know, it's referred to as like this den type of thing, but there's not beer bottles lying around. There's not cigarettes all lying around there. You know, it just is odd to them, as it strikes me odd, that, you know, the police come in, they go directly downstairs, and there's 3 little baggies found, nothing else, no beer bottles, no nothing else with it, but 3 little baggies are found there. I'm not implying anything.
I think you are.
Beg your pardon?
You're not insinuating what I think you are.
I'm not insinuating anything. I'm just saying that from our side of the table here, you know, listen, here's the thing. I mean, I know both these individuals my entire life.
You work for them and all that, I know
Well,
that.
no, I've known them. I grew up with them, you know. I mean, they own a restaurant in Brookline for 26 years. I sat on the licensing board at Brookline 26 years. He has 0 violations. These aren't guys, they're 50-plus years old. They're not guys that do drugs, accept drugs. They have young kids, you know, kids going into college. It's mind-boggling to them, as it was to me when I heard this offense. Listen, minors, I get it. It's a big problem. It's always a problem. I think they've done a much better job. I have all the certificates from JBS, from every employee there. We've changed the policy. We've tried to abide by it. You know, for the number of people we've ran through those doors since 2011, we've been relatively good about it, you know, and there was a slip-up, and we understand that. I wish we had the opportunity to review the tapes that night and see if that person, in fact, did show a different ID. She showed one ID to the police that she was 20, but I don't know if that was the ID she showed to the door. We didn't have the ability to see it and to review our tapes with it. But the drug part is troubling to all of us, but it's certainly not set up for that type of thing. The one thing that I would suggest to you that I've recommended to my clients is that door stay locked at all times, that we create we have surveillance upstairs, but never had it downstairs. Now we're going to put a surveillance right on that door, the 2 exits that are down there. So now we'll see anybody that goes in there. We can track anybody that goes in there. So this will not be a problem again, because now we can see who's down there. We've told employees this is off. We don't need that there. It was just storage facility down there. We don't need the couch there. They can figure out another place to take a break. So it's very troubling to us, and don't want you to think otherwise. This is a big part of our business, and this was not our intention. As you remember, I stood before you, and he was bringing a smokehouse restaurant here. And in Brookline, it's 80% food, and here it just didn't work out that way, as the condos didn't work out, and we've had to adapt just to keep our door open. So we try to be a good corporate citizen, and you know, this mistake relative to the underage, but the drug thing, we just can't explain it, and we're dumbfounded by it.
But with a disgruntled employee being discharged, I mean, management should be aware that there's always a potential problem, right? I mean, in some businesses, if you're being laid off, you get escorted out of the building upon notification by a security guard. and you never come back. Up until this point, I always thought that was a little over the top, but now I'm not so sure. So
Yeah.
that falls back to the corporation, right?
Correct. And that's the only thing we can think of, because really, if you look at the layout, as I showed you the floor plan, this is all kitchen staff has the most access back there. This is a place where the cooks go to cool off and take a break, so it's the only thing we could come up with that made any sense to us.
Well,
Is there anybody else?
I don't think we can, unless they.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
would you mind if I asked Lieutenant Gollner to come back up
sure.
for just a moment?
Right ahead. Unless they have direct knowledge of the facts, and not supposed to testify. I'm sure all these people would love to hear.
Hi. Lieutenant Gollner, could you describe what Mr. Kelleher's demeanor was when you first told him that there were drugs in the basement?
He was basically nonchalant. It didn't surprise him about the discovery, as he testified. You know, he was trying to find out information from me on that date. And it wouldn't surprise me, and I'm glad that you called me back up, because I could bring a lot of police officers in here to testify that the clientele in his bar is, you know, there are a lot of known drug dealers that frequent that bar on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, and it is a place common for people to go. It's known around the area for underage drinking, for the underage drinking to go, and I would definitely rebut the fact that that was 3 or 4 years ago, because we've had several violations. I wasn't in the narcotics unit and in the vice unit over 3 years ago. So, and one of the violations, which you probably don't have, which was the 11 out-of-state licenses, because that was taken to the ABCC that day, because it was actually the Alcohol Beverage Commission that came in with us that evening. I do resent the implication by the attorney that regarding the discovery of those bags downstairs, because that's our job, that's what we do. We acted on information. We acted on information from a police officer that told us that this was going on, that underage kids were in the bar, and that there was drug use in the basement. I've been in that bar, as Mr. Keller had said, probably 10, maybe even more times to investigate underage drinking. We have never, ever gone in the basement. We went there on a specific complaint, and that's what we found. You know what? There were no beer bottles. I don't know. The place was cleaned up previously. The back door, Mr. Kelleher mentioned that evening, that he'll have to make sure, I think it's in Detective Lally report, to make sure that back door is locked. I don't know where the back door enters in, probably through the other side of the bar, which patrons could sneak down or go into the basement. So, you know, it was disturbing to us that we'd find that evidence, which means to me that there was probably more, and it was more widespread, and that those 3 bags were fresh and current from recent drug use. So I don't know if it was an employee, a patron, we don't know any of that, just that we did find residue of the drug usage in there and the underage drinker on that evening. And Mr. Kelleher did state, or there was testimony, that no one were given bans that night. If their practice is that you give bans for the staff to locate the underage patrons, and you didn't give bans, that means that everyone could have drank in that establishment that night. So other than that, the police would have looked and said, everyone is of age in here that had a drink. It was just that Detective Downs was able to identify someone that looked young and she didn't have the band. And if Detective Downs testifies, I'm sure she'd tell you that the woman didn't have any other ID on her that evening when she was there. And in fact, I think her friend had some ID on her, and that's who checked. But other than that, there was no other ID on this girl, and Detective Downs, if you'd like to question her
You have
about.
Detective Downs come up. Introduce yourself for the record.
Crystal Downs, I'm a detective with the Lowell Police Department.
Detective Downs, did you ask the young lady for her identification?
Yes, I did.
And what was the identification that she provided?
She did not have her license. She didn't have a purse or anything on her. She turned to her friend and said, "Can you give me my ID?" Her friend gave me her mass license.
Okay. Did she have any other identification on her?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Nguyen, Ryan, did we get anything from ABCC on this, since they were present?
On this particular matter,
Yes.
there's no information from the ABC on this matter.
They weren't present on this matter, though. They were present on a different night, right?
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
Well, after hearing all the testimony and evidence, in my opinion, there's a violation of, serving to minors, and there's a violation of permitting a illegality in or on the licensed premises in violation of Mass General laws and the City of Lowell regulations. So I'd make a motion that we suspend the license for 21 days, 11 to be served, and 10 to be held in abeyance. And with the 3 days that are currently hanging over them, that would be a total of 14 days served.
Okay, can I have that, Diane, please?
Yep, 21-day suspension, 11 days to be served, 10 to be held in abeyance.
In addition?
Well, and then I know they have 3 that are
In abeyance.
in abeyance, but they will be added on, so that would be 14 days served total.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. We will, and the suspension can start, if you look at the calendar, do you have a calendar there? No, I know. No, I know. Yeah. We'll start at September 5th will give us time, right? You get the notice out.
So by doing the letter of notification, that if the letter is sent and they receive it,
All right, then we'll do the 12th.
so they have, irrespective of the legal holiday, which is the second, I would say you might want to, the 9th or thereafter.
Yeah, the suspension will start September 9th.
And we'll get notice and we'll have the right for appellate review, correct?
Exactly, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no action taken on the complaint.
What complaint?
Yeah, that was important.
That was all incorporated, yeah. Okay, guys, if you can just hold on a second, I know you guys gotta go, but.
Okay, so just for the sake of the record, for the decision of the License Commission, if I understand now the decision, I misunderstood initially, I apologize for any inconvenience this is causing. The allegations were violation of Chapter 138, Section 34, individual under the age of 21 being served or allowed to consume alcohol beverages. Then there is the Alcohol Beverages Control Commission regulation referencing illegality, specifically, in this instance, it would be the underage person.
Yep.
With respect to the other aspect to the state regulation for illegality, Chapter 94C, the Controlled Substance Act,
There is a violation
the
there also.
the licensee is in violation.
Yes.
For the fact that based on the results of the state lab, the findings of that report,
Yep.
indicative of the illegality of the
Yes.
on-premises use,
By having the illegal drugs on the premises.
okay.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you, thanks, guys. Thank you, Lowell Police, I know you gotta go.
That's a convoluted situation, I mean, in terms of trying to define it,
Oh, I
describe
know.
it, because I'm trying to think of in terms of how it's gonna be appealed,
Right.
and how I have to,
Well, we just make sure we put all 3 so that we.
no, all of this is gonna come up fresh, new, de novo, when they deal with the ABCC.
No, I know
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That's,
Where'd the attorney go? She didn't get excused.
Okay,
Kevin Webb, you were responsible for
all right, next on the agenda,
Commission will now take up an application for the Club Pastime of Lowell, Mass., the all-alcoholic beverage club licensee, 369, 371 Moody Street, for change of manager from David Willett to Robert Arcand of Lowell.
introduce yourself for the record.
Robert Arcan.
Is this the same club that we got that?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Sorry?
Well, they suspended the license, AVCC.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to call them Hillsborough, it'd be easier.
Okay, can I,
Please.
irrespective of what you may have received from board secretary,
It's not on the agenda.
it's not, something we can introduce at this regular meeting. It's not on the agenda for discussion. The finding of the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission, based on a hearing that was held by the ABCC, in which they find violation and then subsequent take disciplinary action. That's not something the License Commission, I don't believe at this point in this meeting, can introduce as it pertains to Mr. Arcan, if that be.
Mr. Arcan, have you ever managed an establishment before that serves alcohol?
I have held licenses for day events.
You've had one-day events, okay. How many members are there of the club?
Approximately 250.
Okay, and how did they get in and out of the establishment?
We have key cards.
Key cards. What if they bring a guest?
If they bring in a guest, they have to sign in.
Okay. And on a typical Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, how many people, patrons do you have?
It varies, because just say like, I'll give you Thursday night. Thursday night's probably our busiest night, because we have a APA pool league, and also the TAP league is a new league that's coming to town, but it varies from day to day.
Okay. And during those one-day licenses, have you ever had any issues with, yeah?
That's for outdoors.
No,
Okay.
Yeah, I understand, but when I'm talking to him as an individual.
sorry.
Yeah, there's been no issues with you when you've had an individual
No.
license?
Not at all.
How many hours are you gonna be on the premises?
I'm usually there about an average of 20 hours a week.
Hours a week, okay. And how many employees are there of the club?
Employees, we have, I believe, 4.
4, okay. And are they bartenders, janitorial
Yes.
staff, what are they?
Bartenders only.
Bartenders only, okay. And are all the bartenders tips trained, or
Yes.
they are? Okay. Okay. Where do you reside, Mr. Arcan?
Where do I reside?
Yeah.
219 Salem Street, Lowell, Mass.
Great.
Been a resident there for 35 years.
I'd like to use my first envelope, and can we go into executive session and talk about this for a minute? So I'm clear in my mind.
Okay, Commissioner Krieger has asked that the License Commission entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss what, sir?
Discuss how we proceed in this case.
Well, let's cut to the chase. The ABCC issued a decision. It was not issued until prior to 48 hours before the meeting. So therefore, it wasn't anticipated at the time of the agenda being filed. So
Right.
therefore, it can be discussed. There's an issue at the Pastimes Club, correct?
Yes.
But in my reading of the decision, it seemed like Mr.
Willett.
Willett was the manager, and he was the issue had to do with him,
Correct.
correct? Not with you?
No.
No. And when did you file this application?
The application was filed 2 days ago, I believe. What you have there.
Because the club thought it was in the best interest to not have him as the manager as a result of the decision, correct?
Pardon me?
The club thought it was in its best interest not to have him as the manager as a result of the decision from the ABCC.
Correct.
So you're taking a proactive measure by filing for a change of manager.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you have any questions about it.
No, I mean, I look forward to Mr. Arcan.
Yeah.
I just, in charge of a void, maybe, I don't know, that's why I don't understand.
You got a big mess to clean up there. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And you're willing and able to take care of that mess.
Being a member for 39 years, I'm taking the responsibility to get the club up and going again.
All right. I'll make a motion that we approve Mr. Arcand as the manager, the transfer.
I
Strike
second.
him. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. You don't become the manager until the ABCC approves it.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Members of the commission, for ratification, on or about August 9th, actually it was August 12th, Manuel Paye of the Portuguese American Center, Inc., which is a club licensee, was having a members outing. The number and address for the club is 59 Charles Street. After our last meeting, which was August 8th, it became known to the License Commission Office that I should correct myself by stating that at the meeting of August 8th, before the meeting convened, but not sufficient time to have any type of application on the agenda, the Portuguese American Center was scheduling a members outing for Saturday, August 17th, from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m., and it was to be held in the parking lot of the club, which is adjacent to Chapel Street, which is across the street from the Portuguese American Center at 59 Charles Street. In order that the club, any alcohol that would be served in the parking lot for the members outing on Saturday, August 17th, required a beer and wine license. Mr. Paye, who was the manager, filed that application, officially filed it on August the 12th, and it was issued forthwith so that the club would be properly licensed for the members outing for August the 17th. And I respectfully ask the commission to entertain ratification of that issuance.
I'll make a motion to ratify.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye, so moved.
Also for ratification, the cancellation of the following license, which was granted by the commission on August 8, 2013, but not issued. A special one-day license for wine only. Alan Neidl of the Zeitgeist Gallery at 167 Market Street. The art opening for Saturday, August 10th, from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
Request for amendment of a license that was granted by the commission on June 6th to Steve Syverson, the president of the Arts League of Lowell. Originally, the date was for September 26, 2013. He's requesting that that license be amended for a date for September the 14th, which is an event to be held at the 307 Market Street for the hours 4 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Make a motion to ratify.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
And we have a communication from the DeMarcus Law Offices representing 99 Restaurant at 850 Chelmsford Street, Lowell. Apparently, the restaurant management has announced that they will be doing a closure, and they want to refurbish the premises. It's cosmetic, nothing to do with the cause for application for description change, and they intend to have the restaurant closed for 5 days, starting October 6th through the 10th of 2013. And they're trying to be in compliance with the License Commission Regulation 101.07, in which notification to the executive secretary for any restaurant that decides that they need to close their premises temporarily. Just put that for your reference.
Thank you.
Okay. Commission may want to pursue matters to do with scheduling of future meetings for the balance of calendar year 2013. We discussed a little bit of it earlier in the meeting. Presently, we're scheduled to meet on September 12th, September 26th, October 10th, October 24th, November 7th, November 21st, December 5th, and December 19th. Well, keeping in mind that Monday evenings, during those months, the planning board and/or the zoning board have meetings. Anytime a Monday holiday enters into the calendar, the board, either be planning or zoning, will schedule their meetings for that Thursday of that week. Also, we have several legal holidays from September through December, on Monday holidays. There is also the calendar for November has Thursday. November 28th is a legal holiday, Thanksgiving. And traditionally, Christmas week is a vacation period. All of cities, other departments or other boards do not schedule meetings during the last week of the month of December up till New Year's Day.
Well, I know this issue is being addressed because of the televising of the Greater Lowell Tech School Committee meetings, and I know other people may feel differently, but I don't think we should worry about the Greater Lowell Tech School Committee. You know, we're hamstrung with the time that we have now. When we were meeting at 3 p.m., it was a little easier. We've been asked to meet at 6:30 p.m. We're limited to the days that we can meet, whether it would be, you know, we can't meet on Tuesday and Wednesday. We're not going to meet on Friday. And I know there's other boards that meet on Monday. So we're really hamstrung, and to rearrange our schedule because of the Greater Lowell Tech School Committee, I just don't think is a prudent idea. And I think that we should schedule meetings at our convenience.
If I may just introduce, I checked the Greater Lowell's Vocational Schools Committee, the school committee's schedule for the calendar year 2013, and it's not listed on their website. What information I could find was listing dates for 2012, 2013, but for this period of the year, the summer through the end of calendar year 2013, there are no posted dates for the Greater Lowell School Committee. Now, obviously, they know what their schedule is, but it wasn't readily available.
If they decide to have a meeting on the same night as ours, and the LTC wants to broadcast theirs, so be it. That's what we take minutes for. That's my opinion anyways.
I know LTC has voiced sort of somewhat issues with the fact that we were changing our time from 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. For Thursdays. That time was something they had to kind of bite the bullet on,
right,
but whatever scheduling they can do. LTC is also, we've had some adjustments, and yours truly has inadvertently not notified LTC of the changes that have been made in recent weeks. And unbeknownst to the board secretary, they come to find out they show up for a date when we was initially going to have a meeting. When we didn't, we changed it because of the scheduling of these hearings on complaints, and I didn't notify LTC of that. So this is it's always been an issue with scheduling. LTC has done yeoman work. They do an excellent job. I just, you know, as you know, when we had to move our meetings from 3 p.m. to 6:30, it was kind of like we were sort of like at everyone's.
Well, moving to 6:30 was the right thing to do. LTC's job is to provide communication. If we can accommodate them, that it's the courteous thing to do, but our meetings are public meetings, and we need to hold them in a fairly routine and regular way so that the public knows we're here. If we can't really accommodate Greater Lowell Technical High School, that's unfortunate, and it then goes to LTC to find a way around. I just wanted to ask the question because a courtesy to Greater Lowell Technical High School, we've got 4 people out there. We can only muster 2.
Yeah, you're a good point. I don't know if I agree with you about the 6:30, but we'll save that for another time in place. So we have the meeting scheduled for the remainder of the calendar year.
As I just stated, yeah.
Okay.
That sounds good. The only thing I didn't see on the agenda was the minutes.
Well, I'm sorry, I put
Is
that
that
at
the end?
the
Did I miss
bottom
that
of the
at the-
list.
Oh, approve the minutes.
I thought
yeah.
maybe you'd overlooked that.
Yeah. I've got 2 questions about the minutes, which were pretty thorough. First is on page 2, first paragraph. Apparently Commissioner Krieger made a motion that Mr. Nadell submits a receipt of purchase from a distributor within 7 days from the time the purchase is made for an event which he's been granted special. Has that happened?
No, because he didn't pick up the license. When he was granted his license, which was
So we're
August the
still
8th,
tracking that.
he never got the license.
All right.
That was on August 8th, when he appeared before the commission. At that time, on the August 8th meeting, Captain Webb notified the commission that Mr. Neidl had an event in July, which he had
Right.
license for.
We
in
just
which
need to keep a tickler, so when Mr. Nadell comes back in, that,
he'll be duly notified that he's compelled to show the commission a receipt of
Right.
his, if he wishes.
my second question, all right, it had to do, do we know if ABCC has approved Gene Kane as the?
I'm happy you asked that question, Commissioner, because it just so happened this afternoon, 2 letters I received from the Alcohol Beverages Control Commission notifying the License Commission that they have approved Gene Kane as the manager of record for the Lafayette Club, and that Emmanuel Silva has been approved as the manager of record for the Portuguese Club on Central Street, back Central Street.
Excellent.
So I was,
I move we accept the minutes.
thank you.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.